Christian, and today I am looking at John chapter 21, starting at verse 15. After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," Peter replied. "You know I love you." "Then feed my lambs," Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question. "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord," Peter said. "You know I love you." "Then take care of my sheep," Jesus said. A third time he asked him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt that Jesus asked the question a third time. He said, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Then feed my sheep." So if we set the scene here, we have the disciples who have lost the person that they've been following, the person they've given their entire life to for the last 3 years. And so they're waiting on this person that Jesus says is actually going to be better than himself to show up, but he hasn't come yet. And so in a moment where they're just tired and frustrated, they go back to what they know. They go fishing. So they're out in the boat, they've caught nothing, and they hear a voice from the shore that says, "Drop your net on the other side." They drop the net on the other side. So many fish come in, the net is about to break, and they go, "Wait a minute. We know who this is," because that's how they met. So they pull in their fish. Peter is so excited to see Jesus that he puts on his tunic, jumps in the water, swims ashore. The rest are like, "Yeah, we'll just take the boat. But whatever. Peter, you do you." They all get to shore. Jesus already made breakfast, and he says, "Bring me what you caught," which is pretty much just like Jesus. Like he's already taken care of everything, but still looks at us and says, "Bring me some of what you have." And they sit down and eat. It's got to be a great moment for Peter. Jesus has come back for the third time since they died, and they're sitting there with their Savior. And Jesus looks at Peter and goes, "Simon, do you love me?" It's got to be such a kick in the stomach, because at this point, you betrayed him. The person that you loved oh so much, who looked at you and said, "You're going to betray me," and you went, "No, I'm not. I will never betray you. I will never have sex outside of marriage. I will never cheat on my wife." The very thing that you said you would never do, you just did. And you thought he'd forgiven you. But now he's looking at you and going, "Simon, do you love me?" Now, this is going to hurt for two reasons. Because one, he's called you Simon. Because he said, "I'm calling you Peter from now on. You're going to be the rock that I build my church on." But now he's looking at you and calling you Simon. So does that mean you're not called anymore? Does your sin, the choice that you made, does that now mean your calling's not there anymore? And not only does he call you Simon, but he says, "Simon, do you love me?" So at this point, your loyalty is not only in question, but he's asking, "Do you even love me at all?" And he says, "Simon, do you love me more than these?" And you say, "Yes, Jesus, I love you." And he asks a second time. And you say, "Jesus, you know that I love you." And he asks a third time. So at this point, it says Simon was hurt that Jesus asked a third time. That's kind of where we end up sometimes. You made your mistake, you sinned, you did the choice. It might have even been something you knew was wrong and you did it anyway. The thing that you said you would never do, you just did it. And now you're wondering, is my calling in question? Can God still use me? And you're asking yourself, because Satan's screaming in your ears, do you really love God like you said you did? And he asks the third time, which now has Satan screaming in your ear. Is he asking again because he doesn't love you anymore? The thing is, there's a story that Jesus tells as a parable in the Bible. And he says, this is what the kingdom of heaven is like. It's like a man that has 100 sheep. If he loses one, he leaves the 99, goes in search for the one. When he finds the one, he puts it on his shoulders, carries it back, and throws a party because the one was found and is now home. That's what he thinks about sheep. That's what he thinks about us. He's actually not looking at Simon and saying, "You're not qualified anymore." He's actually saying, Here's what I want you to do. Simon, feed my sheep. The things that I'm willing to leave and go get the one for, I'm actually now entrusting to you. His sin didn't make him disqualified. His calling just got upped. The thing that you did, the problems that you had, the divorce, the brokenness, it doesn't disqualify you from being called. It's actually what God's building on. There are people who are never going to listen to me because they're going to look at me and go, you don't know what it's like. However, you can look them in the eye and go, I know what it's like to be divorced. I know what it's like to be broken. I know what it's like to be lonely. I know what it's like to be on loan. I know what it's like when your family betrays you. I know what it's like, and God is still good. Your status, your experiences, your brokenness, your sin doesn't disqualify you from being used by God. It's actually what makes you qualified to feed his sheep. Love you.